All right, we are live. Episode 9 with David and Pam, strong by Lee and powered by Pam. Oh, snap.
Hi.
Pam is waving like a game show host, or like she's like Dana White from the Wheel of Fortune. Wait, that's not Dana White. That's Vanna White, right? Vanna White. Oh my God. Dana White is the
Yeah.
owner of the UFC.
Mhm.
All right, I'm already making a fool of myself from
I'm not
second
already not listening to you.
from second 20. Looks like we're getting more comfortable. That's okay.
Yeah.
Pam, you made a
Mhm.
comment earlier today while we were off the record. What was that comment
Mhm.
again?
Okay, you really want me to say it?
Do I
Okay,
really
so
want you to say it? I'm sure.
I said that I look really flat chested right now.
Okay. That's a very
Yeah.
interesting comment for you to say.
And
Why?
you
Why
can
do
see
you
the
look
smile
really?
on my face that like I'm super happy about it too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly. So why don't you
hmm
explain to people why you
Yeah.
feel you look flat chested?
hmm So, I talk about my journey a lot. But recently, what is it? It's like we're nearing pretty end of January. So I would say mid-December. So it's only been a little bit over a month now, is when I re-entered my calorie deficit. To give you guys a little bit of background, in a previous episode, we had stated that when I started working with David, that I lost 20 pounds, which I did. And then I had also stated that I took some steps back because of some external factors that were going on in my life. And I gained probably 10 pounds back. And it was mostly bloat weight because I was extremely stressed. It wasn't because I stopped going to the gym. It wasn't because I just said screw it and started eating whatever I wanted. Instead of being 80-20, I was probably 70-30. But I was still extremely consistent with the gym. So I gained some bloat weight. And when the pandemic happened, I really tuned into my nutrition and I was able to lose. And I also stated this in one of the other episodes that I lost about 12 pounds, which felt really great. But then my body was like, no, you can't, you're not going to lose any more weight. So I gave it a little bit of a break and I gained a few pounds back. Again, I was super consistent with the gym and I was eating extremely healthy. I just had gained a little weight back. And I guess I get bloated super easily, which you and I already knew this. I get bloated extremely easy. Um, and December 15th was when I started a new macro range with my protein, carbs, and fat, and obviously a calorie range. And I've lost about like 8 or 9 pounds, which is, I should say this, I lost 8 or 9 pounds since the beginning of December and probably like 5 or 6 pounds since the middle of December. So it's been a little quick, but just because I know that we say that a half a pound to a pound a week is normal and it's evened out to that. At first, it was a little bit more like a pound and a half, 2 pounds a week, because I did have a lot of like water weight that was kind of sitting there. Thanksgiving happened.
Giving thanks for that water weight.
So after that, that's when I started to lose some weight. And so this cutting experience has been really good. And I am not done yet. I'm not done yet. And again, I don't have a specific goal in mind. Like I have a range that I want to be in. I would say like if I could lose 7 or 8 more pounds, that'd be great. But if it ends up being 5 more pounds, then it ends up being 5 more pounds. I mean, I feel really good. Again, I feel really flat chested, which was one of my goals many years ago. Because if anyone knows the way that I used to look, I was very top heavy.
Very top heavy. That's putting it
Yeah,
lightly.
and it took like a lot of years, a lot of years, a lot of push-ups, a lot of bench presses, overhead presses to get rid of them. So keep going, guys.
I should wear a mask during some of our interviews to cover my facial expressions. No, I'm just
Yeah.
playing.
So
If people see the progress pictures, they'll be amazed at the
yeah.
progress that you made, especially in that
And
area.
I think you guys can also see like from my mood, I feel really good. Which is important when you're in a cutting phase that you want to monitor your mood because some, mood swings depending on how low your energy levels go. But I feel really good. I feel really, really good. It's been almost a month and a half, a little bit less than a month and a half. And I'm just going to keep on going with this until my body tells me that I am done. So
But you know what we should do is piggyback off of that, just to give people a little bit more details about what you're currently doing, and also some of the mindset surrounding it. If, like you said, if people didn't know, you're the type of person who you you like routine,
Mhm.
and something if there's something that you don't really feel comfortable with, or not necessarily comfortable, if there's something you don't feel confident with, you're not going to feel comfortable with it too. And I remember when I set out these recommendations for you, these macronutrient recommendations, you're like, really? You're going to up my
I
fat?
was freaking out.
You were freaking out. You're going to up my
Yeah.
fat? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Mhm.
And this goes to some people's ambivalence, right? Their resistance to undertaking some sort of behavior change because they don't know if they're going to see results. Luckily for us, you're seeing results. Sometimes people don't see results.
Yeah.
But just because you don't see results doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't try to undertake that behavior change or that you should quit. It might mean, okay, maybe I need to go at it a little bit longer, or maybe I need to make a couple of small tweaks. But here's the
Yeah.
thing. The most important thing is you need to put the work in. You put the work in, even though you were hesitant and you were not comfortable with the recommendations. You put the work in because you knew if you
Mhm.
were going to do this, that you were going to do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And because you did it to the best of your ability, you were able to see I think, the best possible results that could have been offered, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to undertake a behavior change, then you can't go at it half-assed. Next, if you're going to undertake a behavior change, you need to give it more than a week. You need to give it
Yeah.
at least 4 weeks or 30
Yes.
days. You need to give it at least 4 weeks of diligent effort and consistency. Effort and consistency to really identify and evaluate if something is working for you or not.
Yeah.
Right. So that's number one. That's the first thing, the mindset part. And then the second one, okay, what are your diet looks like? I'm not going to spit out the specific numbers because I don't want people to go out and be like, oh my God, Pam is eating a specific
Yes.
number of fat. Or basically, we have Pam on kind of in between a low carb diet and a very low carb diet. And a very low carb diet is a ketogenic diet, but we have her on kind of like a high moderate fat diet, moderate protein, and low carbohydrate diet. All we did was took her current macronutrients that she prescribed to herself with good results over the pandemic, and just increase fats a little bit and decrease carbohydrates a little bit. And that's all we did. And as soon as as soon as her result starts to taper off and she's not feeling good and her hunger starts to tick up, then what do? We decrease fats a little bit and increase carbohydrates a little bit. We're just
Yep.
reversing it. We're just reversing it. And that is really the beauty of personalized nutrition that you would be able to offer to people, because that's not something you can get from a Google search. You don't get that. You don't
Yeah.
get that feedback from Google search. But hey, look, this isn't working. So what do I do? That's basically what we're doing with you.
Yeah. And, again, we're not going to say what my macros are, what my calorie range is, because, yeah, again, people are going to go out and think that, oh, they need to eat this much and they need to have this many calories, protein, fat, and carbs. And, what people also need to know is something that you mentioned is that there were other macros that I was using back in the spring and summer, and I made significant progress with those macros. I was eating more calories, and I was eating more protein, eating more carbs, and my fat was a little bit lower. And I still made fantastic progress. And I also did carb cycling too, where some days I ate a lot of different carbs. So, um, hold please. You could,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. Um, that was just, I thought that was important. That wasn't that important.
Oh, it's okay.
Um, so I was eating a lot of carbs. And so it's not a one size fits all, right? And that worked for me for like four months or so. And then my body was like, enough. I gave it a little bit of a break, and then I went back at it, made some slight tweaks, didn't change my fitness routine, kept it the same with what I was doing working out wise. And I continued to make progress, and I'm continuing to lose fat. And folks, that's how you do it.
Yep. That's perfect. Yep. And
And you
you make
don't
a
freak
you
out too. Don't freak out when the scale goes up. Don't freak out when the scale goes up. Don't freak out if you take a step back. Keep going.
you make a
Sorry, I
good
didn't mean
point.
to cut you off.
No, 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 no. Please cut me off, especially because what you were talking about is probably more important than mine. But you make a good point, and I think that's going to segue into our next little bit.
Yeah.
And then after our next little bit, we're going to talk about supplements. How long to diet? You said 4 months, and I feel that that is a really good amount of time for most people to undergo a strict diet. A strict diet. I would consider your diet, and when I say diet, I don't necessarily mean it in a negative way. A diet is just a way of eating.
Hmm.
I don't really get all this. I do get it, but I also don't get why this word diet conjures up so many negative memories. Of course, you could
Hmm.
say nutritional plan, meal plan, call it whatever you want. It's a way of eating. Your diet lasted about 4 months. You saw great progress for 4 months. And for most people undergoing a strict diet, 4 months is a really good time frame. If you are on, and when I say strict, from a percentage standpoint, and again, this is really hard to quantify, 90%, 90% at least. And that's what really strict means, right?
Yes.
For most people, though, who aren't going to undergo a very strict diet or may not have experience with dieting or exercise and they need more education, they're probably going to have to do it for 6 months because they might spend the first 1 to 2 months learning how to track, learning what proteins are, carbohydrates, fats, water, learning how to structure their meals. They're going to spend the first 1 or 2 months learning how to do those things. And then the next few months, all right, maybe things are a little bit more dialed down. It's time for me to get more serious. Then that's when probably the 4 months starts. Maybe,
Mm.
even 6 months from there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
make a
I mean,
really
I,
good point.
I think that again, like I really this time around, I really listened to my body instead of forcing anything. And the reality is that I would have liked to go longer, and I would have liked to push for a few more pounds when it was during the summer. But I mean, my body just was like enough, enough. And it's not like I was eating a extremely low amount of calories at all during that time because I really was not. I was eating I was eating a lot. I mean, to the point where it's like people make comments to me like, "Oh, whoa, you're eating all those vegetables and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know it." Like, yes. But
Vegetables don't have calories.
and I did eat a lot, but I also ate a lot of really healthy foods and foods that were high in volume that I could eat a lot for a fewer amount of calories, which is something that I continue to do. But I was especially doing that, over the summer, and I really did make a lot of progress. But when my body said time is up, I gave it a rest for a little bit, and I chilled out for a couple months, and then I got back at it, and now I feel great knowing that it's the end of January and I am where I am. And truth be told, I'll probably get down to a number and I'll probably try and purposely put on muscle weight. So but your goals change over time. And, but I think 4 months is a good time to,
Yes.
give yourself to make a good amount of progress.
Which brings us to our next discussion about supplements. When you're in a
Yes.
calorie deficit, when you're in a calorie deficit, it is probably more important to consider supplements because you have less energy coming in. And if those energies are in the form of healthy foods, then most likely you're not going to be fulfilling certain vitamin and mineral requirements your body needs.
Hmm.
Vitamins and minerals being fat soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, K, and the water soluble vitamins like vitamin C and vitamin B. And then you have the minerals such as magnesium, manganese, iron, copper, zinc, selenium. These are all vitamins and minerals. Your body needs a certain amount of them in order for the metabolism to keep humming along, for your immune system, for cognitive function. For example, the B vitamins are responsible for helping with carbohydrate and fat metabolism. When you're eating less, you're getting less of those vitamins and minerals. When you're in a calorie surplus, you may not need to supplement nearly as much. But a vast majority of people who are going to be seeing you and me will express interest in losing weight.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about supplements. Why don't you talk to us about your perspective on supplements, Pam?
Yeah, so I take supplements, and I think supplements are a tool that can help you with fat loss or a certain goal that you might have. And as you kind of mentioned, maybe we could start with vitamins and minerals. Um, that there are people that are deficient with certain vitamins or certain minerals, and it would benefit them to be able to take them. So you have the water soluble vitamins that you were talking about, like vitamin C, that people tend to be deficient in vitamin C, and a fat soluble vitamin, as you were saying, like vitamin D. Many people, especially women that I talk to, I find that they are deficient in vitamin D, and that their doctors will often prescribe that for them. Um, I take a multivitamin. I know a lot of other people take multivitamins. Um, and I think that it definitely is beneficial to be able to do that. You also mentioned magnesium, and you actually got me into taking magnesium at night. It's like a powder that I put, and it dissolves in my drink. And I just like drinking tea at night, and so that's why I keep up with the magnesium. But it helps with sleep. It's a very like calming effect too. And don't hate me if I'm wrong for saying this, but I do think a lot of people are deficient in with magnesium, correct?
Yes, because the way normal blood work measures magnesium, they measure serum magnesium, but most
Mm-hmm.
magnesium is found in the bone. Magnesium is also one of the key minerals that's responsible for bone growth.
Mm,
Magnesium is also a neurotransmitter, which is why you feel relaxed after drinking certain forms of magnesium. Certain forms of magnesium can cross what's called the blood-brain barrier. The
mm-hmm.
magnesium thing that we have, which by the way is a company called Natural Calm. Natural Calm, that's the name of the actual magnesium. The company is called Natural Vitality.
Mm-hmm.
It's an effervescent. It's like Alka-Seltzer. You put in 2 teaspoons of the magnesium in lukewarm water, like 4 ounces of lukewarm water. It fizzes up. You let it fizz up, and then you drink it. That form of magnesium, which is patented, crosses your blood-brain barrier, and I think it's the only form of magnesium that really relaxes you because it kind of evens out the neurotransmitters.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Like most people, there's a study showing at least 80% of people are deficient in magnesium,
Yeah.
despite blood magnesium showing normal levels.
Yeah. So I take a multivitamin, I take magnesium. I also take a probiotic. Probiotics are very good for your gut health. A lot of people, not a lot of people, some people have leaky gut syndrome, right? Meaning that your gut, the bacteria in your gut isn't very good. And so a probiotic provides you with that good bacteria. Um, and
And
so it's good for your gut health, it's good for your immune system and your digestive system. What else were you going to say?
and if you have a poor digestive tract and leaky gut syndrome, one of the key things is your farts smell like somebody died up in you.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Thanks. So that's one way to detect it. Um,
Oh, we know
but
Pam ain't
yes,
a murderer.
so probiotics, yes, probiotics are good. I do suggest that to people when they're talking about having digestive issues, um, or maybe they're having trouble with something else, maybe like an autoimmune type of disorder, that if you are able to get your gut in check, that obviously it's not a cure, because again, these are just tools, but it can aid in helping the issues that you're having. So probiotic, multivitamin, magnesium. What else do I take? Collagen. Yes, collagen is a big one, and I feel like it's become popular in the past couple years. So collagen basically has the amino acids, which are building blocks of protein that are found in animal meats. Um, and so if you are someone that doesn't, maybe you don't eat a lot of meat, that collagen could be good because it's good for your skin, it's good for your joints, it's good for your hair, it's good for your nails. I mean, just look at me. I'm just kidding.
I know you good for everything. Good for everything.
Um,
Even the chest. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
yeah. So, collagen is something that as we do get older, we start to lose collagen, especially women. So, supplementing that is it's a good source of protein as well. For I know that the one that I take, like one scoop is 10 grams, two scoop is 20 grams. I don't use two scoops though because I don't need that much protein because I get it elsewhere. And again, it's not something that you should be using in place of eating adequate protein, but it's a tool that you can use if you feel like you are not eating enough protein, if you're not eating enough of variety of meats and fishes. And if you notice that you have brittle hair, brittle nails, maybe your joints hurt, that it would be a good thing to include into your diet. So collagen, yeah. The next one, creatine. I don't take creatine, but you and I talked about this, and I think that I might take it in like a couple months. So creatine is actually something that is naturally found in your muscles, right? So creatine is used to increase your strength. It's increased. Gosh, I can't talk. It's used to increase your muscle mass. So it is actually something that's natural that our bodies make. But if you take creatine, what happens is that it helps to grow muscle faster, right? So you're going to grow more muscle. You are going to become stronger at a faster rate as opposed to if you didn't take it. And again, I don't have experience with it, but I know that it's completely safe to take. And I know that David, you know much more about creatine than I do, but the reason why I put it on the list is because it is a safe supplement that people can use if they're in the gym and they're looking to see more progress with their strength and their muscle. That it is something that I definitely would recommend incorporating.
We did talk about this. We talked about creatine in the context of what I call the 3 C's. And the 3 C's represent the three nutrients or supplements. You can find them as nutrients, they're naturally occurring, but they can also be found in supplements that have been proven without a shadow of a doubt to improve performance in most people. Any nutrient that improves your performance is called what's called an ergogenic aid. Ergogenic aid, anything that improves in performance. And those 3 C's, creatine, caffeine, and carbohydrates. Those are the 3 C's, and those are the three nutrients that are found in nature. So creatine, not only, like you said, is it found in your body produces creatine. It's found in your muscles, your fast twitch muscle fibers that are responsible for producing power, but it's also found in supplement form and red meat. Red meat. Talk about veal, pork, but beef has the highest concentration of creatine. Caffeine is found in coffee beans, it's found in green tea, it's found in black tea, it's found in white tea, it's found in yerba mate. Caffeine is also the other one. Caffeine, the way it improves ergogenic aid is it reduces or masks fatigue by increasing the release of adrenaline, similar to morphine. And then carbohydrates. Carbohydrates improve performance because when you're undergoing a high intensity activity like lifting, running, sprinting, jumping, your body is going to use glycogen, which is the storage form of carbohydrates. So any carbohydrates you eat, such as potatoes or rice, your body will break it down. And if it doesn't have an immediate use for those carbohydrates, it's going to break it down into sugar. And then it's going to shove that sugar into muscle tissue and liver tissue as glycogen to be used on a day or during a time when it is required, such as when you're lifting. When you are lifting, your body will release that glycogen into the bloodstream and it's going to use it up. So then when you eat carbohydrates, you're going to replenish that glycogen so your body can always, resort to it whenever it does. So carbohydrates is the number one ergogenic aid. It never fails for people. Caffeine it's whatever because caffeine has a tolerance to it. And also creatine because not everyone has Not everyone is naturally fast twitch. People who are
Hmm.
naturally fast twitch, for me, for example, I'm naturally fast twitch. I'm very
So am I.
explosive. Yes, you are too. Very
Yeah.
explosive, very fast. We are going to respond really well to caffeine supplementation, but somebody who does really well with long distance running
Slow
because
twitch.
slow twitch,
Hmm.
they might not see as good of results with creatine since creatine really hasn't been shown in research to improve endurance
Yeah.
performance. So
I
those
always
are
think
the
of
yeah.
Yeah, I always think of slow twitch and fast twitch. Slow twitch, I think of running a marathon. Fast twitch, I think of sprinting
Yes.
or lifting weight. Yeah, because it's much more of an explosive movement. But yeah, so if you're in the gym and you are doing more explosive training, which is weightlifting or sprinting, then creatine would definitely benefit you.
And
Um,
here's the thing. Before I want to cut you off, so I'm sorry about that. They all tie in together.
yeah.
If you look at creatine, when you mentioned creatine helps you improve your explosiveness, if you take a supplement that improves your explosiveness and your strength, what's going to happen? Your muscles are going to contract harder. When your muscles contract harder, they're going to use up more energy. When they use up more energy, where does that energy come from? That energy comes from glycogen. When your muscles contract harder, you're going to use up more glycogen and burn more calories. But what happens when you burn more calories and you use up more glycogen? Your fatigue tolerance decreases
Hmm.
because you burn up glycogen at a faster rate. So then that's when caffeine comes in. Caffeine can mask the fatigue so you could push a little bit harder. The all three of them work synergistically. So if somebody takes these three C's together, they're going to be they're going to have their best foot forward when it comes to improving their strength, their performance, and their muscle building potential.
Yeah. I think kind of this would be a good supplement to introduce next is protein powder. Yeah,
Oh
I think
yeah.
that surprises some people. Again, protein powder is a tool that you can use, but it should not, again, going with along with collagen, it shouldn't be used in place of having adequate, real lean meats that will give you a good source of protein. So yes, protein powder I think is a great to use before you work out, after you work out. I personally love to put my protein powder in things like oatmeal, yogurt, cottage cheese. Um, you can bake with it. I mean, there's so many different things, protein pancakes that you can make with it. And
You are the
the
diva of protein. I remember you used to
yeah,
tell me all sorts of these recipes. Oh my
yeah,
god,
I make so
man!
many things with protein.
Let me
And
see
those
you
are
and
things.
bake for me.
And I honestly, I use it kind of to add flavor and to add texture into healthy foods that I really enjoy eating. Um, So again, it's like yogurt has protein in it. You know, oatmeal is substantially good if you're talking about a great source of carbohydrate and you put the protein in there and then, you have it with a handful of nuts and boom, you have a complete meal right there. Um, and so protein powder is also really great. Again, I said before the gym, after the gym, you could add it into certain foods that you really, really like, and you get that boost of protein. The thing that people do need to be careful of is getting protein that isn't good. And when I say that, I mean that there are proteins out there that are really high in fat, they're really high in carbs, they're high in sugar, they have so many ingredients in them. So if you are looking for a protein powder, do your research. The protein that I use, and David introduced it to me, is from a website called True Nutrition. I've been using it for about 2 years. I personally have the pea protein blend. It's vegan, and the reason why I use that is just because I prefer it over a whey. It's not like I would never try whey. Um, but yes, pea protein, that's vegan formula, and there's really only a couple ingredients in it. And I have looked at the other blends of proteins that comes from the True Nutrition website, and they are of a good quality, that they do not add many ingredients into their proteins, and the nutrition content is really great. I think for one scoop, which is 38 grams of the pea protein, it's 110 calories, 1 gram of fat, 1 gram of carbohydrates, no sugar, and 25 grams of protein.
Like,
Yeah, that's the most important part.
well, just to put that into perspective, most protein powders you get that are mainstream that you can find at Target or Vitamin Shop or whatever, they're from a volume perspective. Most of these protein powders will come with their own scoop. That scoop will hold a certain amount of volume via powder, let's say 35 or 40 grams of powder. But because a lot of these companies are geared towards flavor, that powder, that 35, 40 grams of powder will probably only be 80% of protein. So you're paying for 20% of fillers, artificial
Yeah.
sweeteners, and whatever. Now, we're not plugging True Nutrition because we get some sort of kickback, but because if you go to True Nutrition, depending on the type of formula you get, if you just get a bare bones formula like what you have, what Pam has, you're going to get over 90% of protein, which is a better bang for your buck. We did the cost
Yeah.
breakdown analysis, and you're getting more protein per dollar than you
Yeah.
are anywhere else. So we're
Yeah.
trying to save you money, not only save you money, but we're also trying to give you a really good quality source of protein because True
Yeah.
Nutrition sources all of their own protein. The biggest downside is if you live on the East Coast like Pam and I do, it's going to take 5 to 6 days because they're shipping out
Yeah.
from California.
But that's not that big of a deal. And, if we're talking about cost too, for a pound for the kind that I get, it's like 9 something, I want to say,
Yeah.
which to me, I actually think is a much better deal than the ones that you find in the store. I mean,
Dude,
because I used to go to
I,
GNC and I used to get
yeah,
like Orgain or Vega,
Vega.
something. And
They're
again,
like
the
$25 a pound.
yeah, and it's way more expensive, way more ingredients, and there's way more calories, fat, carbohydrates, sugar. And so for me to find this brand that was so cost efficient and really in terms of the calorie and protein and the carb fat ratio, huge. But some other really good ones I hear like Legion is a super good protein company, and First Form I hear is good as well. Isopure is that I don't know if that's a company or if it's a type of, but I know Isopure is like one of the purest forms of whey protein, I believe, and there's like no ingredients in that either.
It's whey protein isolate, depending on what you get. So, let's preface this. I know we're harping on protein a lot, but we're going to tie it all in. There are so many supplement companies out there. It is an unregulated industry. It's an unregulated
Yeah.
market, meaning that the FDA cannot regulate whatever protein you decide to buy from Vitamin Shop or GNC or Target. They can't. These companies can put on a label saying, well, FDA has not evaluated any of these statements, yet make claims such as, oh, this protein is going to help you build lean muscle. It's going to help you control your hunger. They can say it's going to help. They can't say that it's going to do this. They can't make affirmative and absolute claims. They can make supportive claims because, let's say, research supports some of those things. These supplements are not regulated. And because they're not regulated, a lot of these companies are not required to disclose their ingredients, which is really important. If you look at a supplement and you look at the label and it shows a bunch of stars next to whatever ingredient you're looking at, that means that you don't know how much is actually in there.
Mhm.
Ideally, you want to choose a supplement where the label lists out in numerical value how much of what you're getting. But the problem is with that also is when you get that type of transparency, you're also going to pay more, which means a lot of these companies that don't put the numbers on their labels are cutting corners. So there's a fine balance between paying for quality but also overpaying for quality. And that's what we're kind of talking about. And protein is exactly one of those things where
Yeah.
you have a company and they have the thing with True Nutrition that I really like is you have two options of packaging. You can just get a bag or you can get a tub.
Hmm.
It's very bare bones. The bags are super plain. It's not flashy. They don't have all sorts of crazy colors and confetti. Some of these companies are paying a lot of money for marketing and advertising and labeling and branding. But the reason I think that you can get a product from True Nutrition at such a good value is because they don't spend so much money on brand
Yeah.
marketing and advertising.
Yeah,
But anyways, yeah,
definitely.
I don't want to harp on True Nutrition.
Yeah. But but what we're trying to say is that if you are considering a protein powder supplement, to make sure that you do your research to find one that's going to give you the best bang for your buck and one that has quality ingredients in it. And True Nutrition is one that we both use, but there are others out there that are equally as good as well. So yeah.
You talked about performance supplements. Let's also talk about general health supplements. Multivitamin is a general health supplement, right?
Hmm.
Multivitamin is also one of those things where you and I both are like, man, do we really need a multivitamin? I mean,
Hmm.
you're especially you eat so healthy. You eat
Yeah.
so healthy, and even when you go out to eat, you eat really well. You don't
Yeah.
eat junk. You eat high quality, luxurious foods. Okay, they might be a
Yeah.
little bit heavy in calories, but they're luxurious foods. A lot of people aren't like that. And
Yeah.
because they're not like that, they might actually require a multivitamin. But the thing with a multivitamin is you have to get away from the one a day, the Centrum Silver, or like you have to go towards the more boutique multivitamins because we're striking the balance a little bit more with the multivitamin. They're generally going to have better quality
Hmm.
ingredients. For example, prime example, vitamin D, B12, the two primary forms of vitamin B12 that you will find in a multivitamin is cobalamin and methylcobalamin. Methylcobalamin is the methylated form of B12 or cobalamin, and it is absorbed much better. Higher quality multivitamins will contain this form of vitamin B12 versus the cobalamin. Like Centrum, Silver, or One a Day, or anything you find at like Rite Aid or CVS, they're usually going to contain the inferior version of B12. You're going to pay a little bit extra, but ideally, when it comes to multivitamin, $30 a month for a month's supply is a pretty good starting point. That's
Hmm.
where I think the magic number is for good quality multivitamin.
Yeah, and I think that goes for anything that we're talking about right now is just doing your research, looking
Yep.
into, a brand that is of higher quality and trying not to skimp out when it comes to money. That you can find one that's adequate in price, but also adequate in quality as well. So that I'm glad that you brought that up because that goes the same for collagen. That goes for the same with the probiotics. That goes the same for creatine. Just make sure that you're doing your research and you're not just going on Amazon and doing a one-click thing and calling it a day. Look into it, look into brands, find the one that fits best for you, that fits in your price range, that has good ratings, that that you could trust.
Perfect. I think that's good.
Yeah. There's one other one that I was going to bring up. And actually, so I'm actually gonna do a pro and con of this. So I take fish oil. You like fish oil. You suggested it to me. I've been taking fish oil for a while. Fish oil, it is high in omega 3s. So people that maybe don't eat seafood or they don't eat a lot of seafood, omega 3s, they are typically found in seafood. It's not the only place that they come from. There are other sources that you can get it from. However, omega 3s are something that people tend to be deficient in with their diet, that they're just not getting enough of it. Um, I like fish oil. I think that I have seen an improvement with it. Again, it's good for your immune system. It's good for your skin. It's good for your hair. It's good for your nails. Um, but interestingly enough, that I have researched a little bit, stating that fish oil isn't as good for you as people think. And I don't agree with that. Listen, it's controversial, and that's why I bring it up. But actually I brought it up because I wanted to know what your thoughts were. If you had heard these statements that fish oil, I think what it is that people, again, they're using it expecting it to cure something that they're lacking, instead of getting to the source that maybe it's their nutrition.
A few years ago, a study came out in the New England Journal of Medicine, which is arguably one of the most reputable peer-reviewed journals in the nation, the New
Mhm.
England Journal of Medicine, NEJM. They came out with a landmark study where they looked at fish oil. They compiled the meta-analysis, big bunch of reviews, and they concluded that fish oil does not have a significant beneficial effect on all cause mortality and all cause cardiovascular events. A lot of people thought that that was the nail in the coffin because even back then, this was back in 2014, there was a debate going on between this. I mean, okay, for people who don't eat fish, can they supplement with fish oil and still get the same benefits? No, you need to eat real fish, or no, you can do fish oil, blah, blah, blah. There's still omega-3 fatty acids. The debate was really hinged on if you get omega-3 fatty acids through food form, the way it comes in through your food, it's much more bioavailable. The body can use it more efficiently versus if you take it as a supplement, the body may not recognize it as a supplement. So that New England Journal of Medicine study, people perceived it as the final nail in the coffin. But if you actually read the study, there's a big washout. The results were inconclusive, right? Because when you look at an abstract and you read the conclusion doesn't always support
Mhm.
what the studies always find. You have to look at the data, you have to look at the tables, and most importantly, you have to look at the discussion, because the discussion of every study will go through the limitations and the strengths. The limitation of the study was they could these were just a meta-analysis, and
Yeah.
you can't really follow people in the free living world as they're taking fish oil and say, oh, okay, you're taking fish
Yes.
oil today, how much are you taking? Okay, you've been taking it for the past 2 years, what kind of result? Because there, when it comes to nutrition, that's the really frustrating thing about nutritional science is it's really difficult to isolate any particular event to any particular thing. However, and this is a significant point, people who tend to eat fish, people who tend to take fish oil, tend to engage in healthier behaviors.
Mhm.
Can that be attributed to the placebo effect? Maybe, maybe not. But when somebody makes healthier decisions because they're supplementing with something healthy or they're engaging in healthy behaviors, that's called the healthy user bias. If spending a little bit of money, let's say $20 a month on fish oil, leads you to make healthier decisions, that leads to less inflammation, that leads to you being healthier, does it have really at the end of the day, does it have to be the omega-3 fatty acids? I don't think so. Taken in context, omega-3 fatty acids is contributing to a general healthy lifestyle. Now, taken independently, omega-3 fatty acids, when they looked at it in vitro, when they just feed, let's say, for example, they feed it to rats or rodents, it's been shown to reduce inflammation. Why? Because omega-3 fatty acids, they act similarly to aspirin. So they thin the blood, they reduce inflammation through the similar pathway that aspirin works on. So if somebody, like you said, if somebody is looking for blood health, there's somebody is looking to maybe improve their blood pressure, their vascular health, and inflammation, then omega-3 fatty acids is a very, very safe bet.
Mhm.
Very safe bet. It's a risk worth taking.
Yeah.
Another thing about omega-3 fatty acids is there are two types of omega-3 fatty acids found in fish. There's EPA and there's DHA.
Yes.
Generally, in a serving of omega-3 fatty acids, you're going to have more EPA, but the DHA is what is really interesting because the DHA is what is used to improve cognitive functioning. So for pediatrics, for kids, they really they dose up on the DHA because it's really good for brain development and also eye health.
That's why they're in prenatals.
That's why they're in prenatals. That's why they're in
Okay,
prenatals, and that's
yes.
why they really stress if your child is not eating, at least a supplement with omega-3 fatty acids that are high in DHA.
Yeah. Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also
What I
there's
was
also
gonna
yeah.
Yep.
Last one. There's also recent yeah, yeah. So it's connected. If you have less inflammation, that's probably going to lead to better insulin sensitivity.
Mhm.
Insulin sensitivity. Insulin is a hormone that the pancreas, which is an organ in your body, releases in response to elevated blood sugar. So if you eat something that contains sugar, it doesn't matter if it's fruit, candy, or potatoes, your blood sugar is going to increase. Your pancreas is going to release insulin. That hormone, insulin, is going to open up the liver, fat tissue, and muscle tissue so that sugar can get out of the bloodstream. The problem is when your body is in a constant state of inflammation, it makes it really difficult for insulin to do its job properly. Theoretically, if you take omega-3 fatty acids and you control inflammation, you give insulin a much better fighting chance, in turn improving insulin sensitivity.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. What are you going to say? I went on way too long about
I
omega-3s.
was gonna say, yeah, so the reason why I brought that up is because I am, for taking fish oil, and I think that fish oil is, again, it's a tool that you can use if you're looking to improve certain aspects of your health, but it's not the end all be all, and that's why I had brought up that, when I have been, listening to different podcasts that I listen to and reading different articles that I didn't understand why people were bashing uh, the use of fish oil. So I wanted to know what your thoughts were. What I was going to talk about were the negative supplements, the junk supplements that people should not waste their money on.
Which is a lot.
Yeah.
There
Uh,
are a lot of junk supplements out there.
But the big one that I wanted to talk about because it's popular right now is the apple cider vinegar. No, apple cider vinegar will not help you lose weight, and I'm so sorry if anyone is listening to this and they get really angry and they think that I'm lying. There's no proven evidence that apple cider vinegar will help you lose weight, especially if you take it in those gummy forms. It's not
You
going
know
to
what
do
apple
anything.
You know what apple cider vinegar is proven to do though?
Burn your throat.
Burn your throat and also wear off the enamel on your teeth.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to chug that, by all means. I mean, listen, I used to be one of those people where I would get up in the morning and I would chug it with some lemon and I would be like, why am I not losing any weight? Not thinking about the 12 cheeseburgers that I ate prior to that. But
Holy crap!
uh,
I didn't make the recommendation, did I?
no, no, you did not. This was back in the day. This was probably like 2014, 2015, 2016, maybe. And I was saying to you, and I apologize for my friend if she's listening, but one of my friends, um, she had said to me that she bought the apple cider vinegar gummies, and I said to her, "That's not going to help you lose weight." Um, she has lost a lot of weight and looks fantastic because she's been in a calorie deficit and she's been working out and she's been super active and has been eating really healthy. And so I said to her, "You're going to continue to make progress because you're doing all those things, but it's going to have zero to do with the fact that you got the apple cider vinegar gummies."
Hold on, man.
Um,
Hold on.
yeah,
I need to address this. Sorry to cut you off. Hopefully, keep your train of thought. What we're talking about right now contradicts what I said a few minutes ago, and I think I should bring this up. You said somebody's spending money on the apple cider vinegar gummies, but they're still losing weight, right? Because they're making other healthy decisions. That's the healthy
yes,
user bias, right? I mentioned that about omega-3 fatty acids. Now, I wouldn't make a big deal about it. I wouldn't have brought that up if omega-3 fatty acids don't also have other significant healthful benefits.
hmm
Right? Like for example, like the blood pressure, the cognitive functioning, the eye health, the insulin sensitivity. It's a matter of degrees. You can take a supplement, any supplement, regardless of how effective it is, and still make progress despite taking the supplement
yeah,
because you're making such good decisions on the other ends, right?
yeah,
But you also want to judge the supplement by its own merits, the own legs that it can stand on. And omega-3 fatty acids, I think, based on This, of course, there are studies that support it, studies that don't support it. You want omega-3 fatty acids have been generally shown to be beneficial for most people, even in
Yeah.
the absence of a healthy diet.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
But
sorry.
with
Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, well, with apple cider vinegar, there's really no substantial evidence that shows that it has, substantially helped anyone lose weight. So I mean that's really all I have to say about apple cider vinegar gummies is that if you're taking them, I mean keep taking them, but you're not nothing's going to happen. It's the same thing with fat burners, and just as you said, if you're taking a fat burner and you're in a calorie deficit and you're eating really healthy and you're exercising, then yeah, you're going to lose weight. But you can't take a fat burner and be in a calorie surplus and expect that something's going to happen, or take a fat burner and sit on your couch and do nothing and eat fries. Because again, I'm guilty of it. I have bought fat burners in the past and have been like dumbfounded when a month later, absolutely nothing has happened except for the fact that I wasted X amount of dollars on this fat burner. All that it really has in it is jacked up caffeine. And so if you really want a fat burner, then why don't you drink some coffee, be in a calorie deficit, and go and work out and then eat a healthy meal after? It
Yeah.
probably will have those. Well, I shouldn't even say it'll have the same effect. That will have a much greater effect as opposed to if you just take a pill that has 2,500 milligrams of green tea in it. That's all I have to say. And listen,
Well,
I have spent hundreds of dollars on these wasteful products. So I get it, right? I really do get it. But what I'm trying to do is to prevent people from making the same mistakes that I've made and to waste, my money and my time on a result that never happened. Because you're a part of a marketing scheme that they're trying to make you think that something's going to happen, and it's not, and people will put out false information. And so do your research. I mean, that's what we said before about the good supplements. It's do your research, know your stuff, and pick wisely.
just to be a good little trainer, Pam,
Yeah.
or a bad trainer, because I led you astray here. The reason you didn't see results in your fat burner was because you didn't use the right fat burner. So I'm just kidding. All right. When it comes to fat burners, there are effective fat burners.
Yeah.
Problem is they're illegal. So two very stark examples. Ephedra is illegal. It's really a Chinese herb. And then there's also another one called clenbuterol. Clenbuterol is a bronchodilator. In other words, it's used for asthma, and it was primarily used for asthma for horses. And in some countries, it's actually approved to use for asthma in humans. But the way that clenbuterol works, it's a bronchodilator, expands your blood vessels, and allows your blood to carry more oxygen. And as a result, you burn more calories. It is widely used illegally in bodybuilding and figure competition circles, but it's illegal, has very serious side effects, and it can be lethal depending on who you are. I mean, it's used for asthma. So if you don't have asthma, first of all, if you don't have asthma, you shouldn't be using it unless you want to use it illegally.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why you didn't see results for a fat burner, because you weren't using the right one.
I was using legal ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that probably goes for most people.
Yeah, I
So
know.
your best bet is being in a calorie deficit, eating some healthy meals, exercising at the gym, and then looking into possible supplementation of certain things that you think that would help assist you in reaching your goals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just as a recap, we're talking about good quality multivitamin. We're talking about magnesium, probiotics. What else did we talk about? Omega-3
Creatine,
fatty
yeah,
acids, protein, maybe even
and
collagen,
and creatine,
creatine. Let's stick caffeine and carbohydrates in there.
yeah,
These are the
Reese's.
proven. Yeah, this is a small handful of supplements or nutrients you can stick into your diet or your nutrition plan to ensure that you're covering as many bases as possible. And of course, if you need more, we don't want this talk to go way too long because there are so many supplements out there. We
Yeah,
can go on and on. If you have any questions, reach out to Pam or me. We can give you some ideas. We can help you brainstorm. And if you need any extra assistance, consider, if you're not already, working with a coach.
that you should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Anything else on your mind, Pam? I think I'm good.
No, I think that's it, guys. We'll see you next time.
And gals. Can't leave out the
Yeah,
gals.
guys and gals.
Guys and gals. All righty. So, you know who to reach out for. Our email is at the bottom. If you want to reach out to Pam, it is pt61889@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to me, it's david@strongbylee.com. Until next time, be strong, be powerful.
Bye bye.
All right.